My name's Harsha, and I'm 20 years old. I graduated high school, Saratoga High School, in the summer of 2011 with a stellar 2.5 GPA. Did really well, applied myself. And somehow got into college with some good standardized testing scores. Decided to go to UC Santa Cruz here. Throughout high school, I was always interested in English and history much more than science and math. It just came easier to me. But my senior year of high school, I took a computer science class, which really piqued my interest in programming, and especially how I was able to take this and do something creative with it and build things that were just delightful to use and delightful to build. So I decided to take computer science at UC Santa Cruz. And through my first year, I ended up taking classes that went into MATLAB, the language of technical computing, a little more calculus, which I already hated in high school, and computer networking, which apparently is important, but I don't really care for it. So I took these classes and I found myself just doing this in class. And I know it's unfortunate, but I just found myself looking at the clock, waiting for it to run down, and it just really wasn't inspiring, and it wasn't what I thought, computer science would be, and I knew I was passionate about it because I really enjoyed that class back in high school. So I decided to drop out of college, at least for a little bit, and maybe permanently now. But I decided to drop out, and I moved to Chicago to live with my dad and figure out what I wanted to do. And I know I liked code, and liked coding and what I could do with it, so I started looking around, and I looked online, and I found Code Academy, like some of my peers have said, and tried to teach myself online, but I wasn't able to apply it in the way I wanted to. So I kept looking, and I found the Starter League online, and I decided to apply, and I came in, and I realized I could learn skills at this place that I could apply immediately to what I wanted to build. And so I came in for an interview, and I met Irvin. And my main concern was, is this just going to be another experience where I'm going to sit in class bored and it's just going to be me listening to a teacher and having to do homework that I'm not really interested in doing? And Irvin was really able to inspire me to come to Starter League because he had been through the class himself, and he had made the same kind of big leap moving from the West Coast to Chicago. And so that was really meaningful to me to talk to someone who had done it. And I also went to a starter night where I saw people like my peers tonight who had gone from knowing no code to building something meaningful to them and working on projects that they really cared about. So I joined the Starter League. And like all my peers before me have talked about, I've learned a complete myriad of technical skills: JavaScript, CSS, HTML, Rails, all that good stuff. Design as well. But what has really spoken to me is, in the last 3 months, is product development. And so to kind of explain that, I want to talk about the product that me and my friend Jack, who you'll meet in a second, built. And for that I have to introduce the Exercise Coach. So the Exercise Coach is a group of gyms based out of Chicago and also in a few other states that my family decided to invest in a couple years ago, and so I work out at one of their locations. And I've never been really an avid exerciser or anything like that. But I was at the Exercise Coach, and I realized that the coaches were writing all of their clients' workout data down on these kind of charts. And it just didn't make any sense because A, that looks really complicated, and running around with the client trying to train them and keep track of that stuff seemed like a lot of work. Plus, this data would get filed away in this massive filing cabinet to never be seen again. So I was kind of wondering, why are we writing these things down? Why do they do that? And so I asked the coaches, and they were like, oh, we definitely will need it at some point. Like, it'll be useful. We can compile the data. We can do a whole bunch of stuff. And I went in and looked in the filing cabinets. They have charts all the way back from like 2000, 2001, 2002 that they've never even looked at. But I wanted to get a better understanding. So somehow I weaseled my way into becoming a coach at one of these locations to kind of understand, even though I had no right to be a trainer. But I convinced them to let me, shadow the coaches and become a coach. So what we did is we broke our app into all these different pieces, and we kind of went back to the basic reason of why I decided to build this app in the first place, which was to digitally track that information that they were tracking manually to make it more valuable and meaningful to use to give the clients a better experience. So after that whole overhaul, this is what we came up with. I want to take you through a quick run through of what the app is. So a coach would sign in using a location and his password, and he would have the list of clients that belong to his gym, and he would be able to search for a client or add a new one if he wanted, and he would just put in their name. It would be really simple, and you could get this person started. And they refer to workout programs as cards at this gym. So you would be able to create a new card for a client and choose the exercises that you wanted this client to do in their A routine. And then you would be able to go on to create a B routine in which you would create or choose another 8 exercises. And you could create a C routine if you want, but usually they don't. And then it would lay out your routines for you really neatly like this, and you'd be able to go into one and go exercise by exercise with the client. And this is designed to be used on an iPad, so the coaches would be using this on an iPad as they're training the clients real time. And this kind of prevents them or takes away the tediousness of having to write it down and kind of try and understand what the previous coach wrote down on the card. And so you can change the exercise routine on the fly like this, and also fill out the exercise routine in any order in which you want, and the app will automatically reorder the exercise routine in the order in which you complete the exercises. So we built this app, and we put it in front of the coaches again, and they really liked it, and they started giving us good feedback. So we decided, let's take it to the founder of the gym franchise itself and see what he has to say. And it turns out that he had been thinking about doing something like this for a long time, and he had wanted to move on a project like this, and he was really interested in moving forward with us. So we got into negotiations, and he wanted to buy the app from us outright. So currently we're in the process of selling the app to him, and it's been a really great experience going through a sales cycle and understanding how tough that is. And it's not as easy. Even if the person wants what you're selling, they don't want to pay what you're asking for, or they have a whole bunch of things that they want on top of what you're selling. And so it's been a really interesting experience going back and forth, and Jack and I have learned so much doing that. Is everything that my peers have said before me, and also that creating a product is a craft. And I came to starter school thinking I'm going to learn something technical, I'm going to learn how to code. But it's a lot more of an art than it is a science. And like any other craft, you have to practice day in and day out all the different things that make it up. So whether that's coding or design or development. And so to keep practicing my craft going forward, this summer I'll be helping Sandy, our design teacher, teach high school and middle school students back-end and front-end development. And also I'll be helping Neil with his learning management software, Lantern, and I'm really looking forward to that. So thank you all for coming out, and you can reach me at harsha@starterleague.com.